for tonight's class, we're going to be working on inversions, and it'll be helpful to be near a wall. So I'm going to demonstrate off of this wall a couple times, and I'll kind of shift the camera around. That'll be near the end. You're also going to want two props that you can press into that are equal height. So that's going to be for a little bit of an ab workout. So it's important that you can press into them. You could build towers of books or use like wide cans of soup. And then if you don't have blocks, you could always try this with just on the mat. It's just a little bit harder. And then for our balancing stuff on one leg, you can get away with just using one prop, like a water bottle, to give you a little extra balance. All right, so gather your things nearby. You'll need your blocks eventually, and come to a seat. So we last week talked about balance. So we're going to be incorporating some of that physical balance tonight into our practice, but also a mindset of progress, not perfection. And I think that especially when we get into inversions and poses that are challenging, it's really easy to want to do it perfectly the first time. Especially if you see somebody that's rather experienced with handstands or something like that, and it seems almost effortless. But what you don't see is all of those years of progress. And building off of what we talked about last week, perfection being not what something looks like, but instead on finding a balance, an equilibrium that works for you. I think it's really great to use what we talked about and kind of felt into last week, and then take it even a step further. All right, so progress, not perfection. Take your right leg, I'll mirror you, right leg, shin parallel to the front of your mat, and left leg over top. We're gonna open up our hips to start Agni Stambasana. And if this is really tight for you, you can take your bottom leg and extend it. You can also do this as a seated figure 4. You want your toes flexed back and the top ankle to be on the inside of your knee, or even just hanging a little bit off to the side. Move these props out of the way. Scoop both of your glutes back so you feel your hip points rooting down. Plant your hands down by your side. Close your eyes. Let your lips come slowly to close. Begin to move your breathing into just in and out through your nose. Ujjayi breath, or Ujjayi pranayama, is inhaling through your nose and letting it be a heavier, saturated breath that you can feel the texture of across the back of your throat. It's almost like at the very back of your palatal plane, there's a dip, a pulling in, a constriction that happens. And then when you exhale, you find that same constriction. So with eyes closed, tuning into just the feeling of your breath and the sound of your breath. Letting everything else from your day fall away in these moments. You can clear out any nostrils from allergies. Go off to the side, find a Kleenex, and come back if you need to, so that you have a clear nasal passage. And we're going to start to extend our Ujjayi breath into what's called box breath or kumbhaka. And so that is a holding and extension of the breath at the top and the bottom, and then side to side. So inhale, exhale, full and empty, making them all the same count. So at first, we're going to aim for a 5 count. So exhale all of your out through your nose. Sit up nice and tall. And then inhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold on top, on full. 3, 2, 1. And now slow exhale. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Press all of the air out. Hold on empty. This is the most challenging. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly begin your inhale. See if you can make it even all the way across these 5 counts. Pause on full. Hold. And then slow exhale. So it's easy to push the exhale out at once, but you want to extend it out through those 5 counts. Hold on the bottom. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Begin your inhale. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold at the top. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold at the bottom. No air in your lungs. 5 counts. Last 3, 2, 1. Now resume just your Ujjayi breath, not any retention, and switch the cross of your legs. You can open up your eyes, bring your right leg on top, left leg on the bottom, flexing your toes, making sure that the outside of your ankle drops past your thigh. If any of your glutes got a little fleshy into those sit points, move them back, sit up nice and tall, and hands can be out by your side, or you can maybe move your hands onto your legs if you remember to keep your spine nice and tall. So we're going to move back into that Ujjayi breath, this time going for a 5 count, or 8 counts rather. So you can make your box breath, especially if you found the hold, what's called kumbhaka, on the top and the bottom difficult, then you can keep that at 5. Try and extend the inhale and the exhale to 8 counts. Make it a little bit more like a rectangle. All right, so we're going to exhale all of the air out together. Inhale, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. Either 5 or maybe those extra 3 counts. And then exhale. And so if you're going on a different rhythm, you can start counting to yourself. Either aiming for a true box breath, 5 counts on the inhale, top, exhale, and bottom, or 8, 5, 8, 5, or 8, 8, 8, 8. Most important thing here as you practice your box breath is to notice when, especially holding or at the very bottom of your exhale, your body might start to get a little stressed, right? You feel like you're grasping for air. And so we can use this practice to calm our nervous system, because we know the breath is there, to calm the panicky breath. And see if you can let your breath be even. You might notice that you push the air out or take a deep sip, a gulp of breath in at the beginning of your inhale. And the next time around, see if you can start to smooth out now that you know what that count feels like. All right, last time through. And when you're done with your exhale, slowly open your eyes. You're going to switch your legs back to the original. Right leg on the bottom, left leg on top. Now our hips are probably a little bit more open, and we were so focused on our breath, we didn't even realize we're stretching these guys as well. So those outer hips might feel, hey, I can get into this a little bit deeper. All right, what we're going to do now is do a little, hey, Gracie, do a little bit of a neck release. I want you to take your right hand and then lift your right glute, fingers in towards midline, sit on the top of your arm. Press it down. Inhale, exhale, let your left ear drop to your left shoulder. Try, excuse me. Try and keep your spine very straight. Keep the pressure down on that right hand and let just your neck get a little bit longer on the right side. If you want a little bit more, you can take this left hand up overhead, finding your earlobe or maybe your chin. I usually get the earlobe, and then just gently intensifying the stretch on the neck. So I can't let this upper arm go totally limp. It's just a little bit of added weight from gravity. Keep pressing the right palm down. Simple Ujjayi textured breath. Deep inhale and exhale. One last time, inhale and exhale. And slowly release the top hand if you had that. Slide your right arm out. And then on this side, we'll take a forward fold, doing a final deepening. Keep flexing your feet back. This tip forward, it might be that you can get your chest down, but I'd like you to try and avoid as any kind of rolling or hunching. Instead, try and maintain a really straight spine so that you're hinging from the hips. And that might mean that it's a really small forward fold. You can also set your elbows down onto the inside of your ankle, the top of your knee as you fold, letting your thumbs rest into your eye socket. That added weight of your arms will also increase the sensation in the pose. Take another breath in and out. And inhale, slowly come back up. Ooh, unwind your legs. And we'll switch sides, bringing your left leg on the bottom, right leg on top. Again, flex your feet, set yourself up. Should be a nice triangle shape from knee to pelvis. Again, you can always do all of this with the top leg, or bottom leg rather, extended in your figure 4 variation. All right, and then sitting up nice and tall, you're going to take your left hand, fingers in towards midline, lift up, and then sit your sitting bone down on the top of your hand. Press that palm down into the mat, sit up nice and straight, and then drop your right ear towards your right shoulder. Feel a gentle pull and opening from your shoulder head along the side of your neck onto the bottom of your ear. And let the weight of your head simply hang. So you're letting gravity do the work of pulling your ear closer to your shoulder. And then if you'd like to add a little bit more sensation, right arm comes up and over. Finding your ear or your jaw or maybe just your hairline. Keep pressing your left hand into the mat. Steady, even cadence of breath. So working to get your inhale and your exhale to still be the same count. And if you find that your mind wanders off into thought, you move out of the sensation of this physical pose in your body, then you can always count your breath and just notice if maybe that exhale got a little bit short and the inhale got a little bit long, and try and fix that on your next round of breath. Maybe deepen the sensation, the weight of your arm on your head. And then slowly release. Bring that hand down. Let your neck come back up. Arms out. And then we'll find that forward fold. Inhale, exhale, hinge forward any amount. Finding that deep sensation on the outside of the hips. Nice fold. Breath in and out. One more. Inhale and exhale. And inhale, slowly come up. Unwind your legs, extend them forward, and we'll move into Navasana boat pose. So with your feet forward on your mat, you are going to want your blocks or your props, if you're using them, to be middle of the mat on either side. And then finding balance on your sit bones, lift up your left and then your right leg. Squeeze your knees together, flex your toes back, and lift your chest. So remember last week I talked about the first thing that starts to collapse is your low back. So really find a lift. You can keep that hold on your knees so that you don't compromise and release in your low back. Yeah, nice. See some feet up in the air. I like it on those videos. See if you can spread your toes. Take a breath in. Exhale, we're going to lower down to hover. Feet hover, shoulders hover. You can reach your hands towards your toes. Navel draws in. Inhale, pull yourself up. You can always use your hands to walk yourself in. Hands behind your knees, Navasana. Exhale, Ardha Navasana, or half boat pose. Inhale, lift. Exhale, straighten. Keep your legs as active as you can. It'll make it easier for them to hover. Inhale, lift. Toes flex back. Exhale, lengthen. One more time. Inhale, lift. And then exhale, lengthen. And release. Find a brief Shavasana here on the mat. Let your body completely relax. Maybe even closing your eyes. Nice. Take another breath in and breath out. Inhale and exhale. All right, so slowly sit up. We're going to move into what's called Lolasana. And this is almost like a pendulum. It's a hanging posture. This is where we're going to be using our blocks. So the more height you can get, the better. I'll demonstrate what it looks like up front to start and some variations. So you're going to have feet crossed. We'll do both sides. Hands will press down into the block. So I like to start on medium height, right, like that. So you start to engage your hands, really press, and then you'll work on lifting your heels up. So it's a lot of lower abdominal work. This is going to be really important to start to activate once we start to do some more inversions, because engaging lower abdominals is how you create a nice, straight, strong spine, so you don't become like a real flexy noodle and the weight starts to go all over the place. All right, so hands into the blocks. I mean, if you want to, you can go really high, build your tower up, even height, and swing. Now, if you don't have blocks, you can do this, just hands into the ground. It lengthen, in fact, the fullest form of this posture according to the books, is without the blocks, but I find it incredibly difficult to do. So just even hovering your glutes off the ground, keeping your arms extended, you'll start to feel your abs work. Maybe you can lift your heels up. Whew. Again, those blocks are important. Okay, so first side, and if you were practicing that, then switch the cross of your legs, hands into the blocks, lift hips up, and then can you pull your knees up to hover, start to rock. Set down, switch your legs, press your hands into the blocks, lift your hips up. Again, find that engagement of your lower abdominals to lift your knees, lift your heels. Keep your spine straight, and then start to rock. Whew. All right, go back to the first side. Maybe open up your blocks a little bit wider, and you can stay with just these lifts and engagements, hands just on the mat. Shift the height of your blocks if you want to. We're going to work on maybe swinging our legs through. Lift up, swing, swing back, come into plank. You can swing forward, sit back down. It might not be graceful, that's okay. Perfection. You might have never done this in your entire life. So be a little bit curious. Switch the cross of your legs, press your hands into the blocks, lift your hips up. Exhale, lift your knees up. Start to find a little rotation. And then kick your legs back. Find plank pose. You can always just step back into plank. And then rock back forward, sit back down. All right, move those blocks out of the way, bring your knees back, and find a nice child's pose. Big toes together, touch, hips back, stretch your arms forward, and let your forehead rest down on the mat. Creepy crawl your fingers even more forward. See if you can move your hips even farther back to stretch out your torso. Take a deep breath in and out. Notice if the cadence of your breath changed. Bring it back. That 3 or 5 count. Inhale and exhale. One more time, deep breath in and deep breath out. Let it go. Lift your gaze, slowly rock forward. Bring your knees in, and we're going to move down into dolphin. So you're going to plant your hands down on the mat and then lower your forearms down. Grab opposite biceps. Get a good grip, and then place your hands back down onto the mat. Squeeze, or rather stretch your fingers as wide as they will go. Press your entire palm down, even the wrist. Another place that likes to pop up is between your pointer finger and thumb. See if you can anchor that area down as well. Gaze back between your knees, tuck your toes. Inhale, lift your hips high. Exhale, press your forearms into the mat so that you can start to reach your chest back. So there's a lot of different things that Dolphin Pose can do for us. In this class, I want you to really focus on your shoulders. So as you're here in Dolphin Pose, squeezing your forearms in towards each other, pressing your chest back more towards your feet. Take a breath in, spread your upper back. Exhale, see if you can get your chest even more back. So you're stretching and opening your shoulders. Inhale, rock forward, press your palms into the mat, maybe walk your toes a little bit closer. Exhale, press into your forearms, shift the weight back. The other thing that's nice about Dolphin Pose is that it starts to get our spine nice and aligned for inversions.
We have a nice foundation here. So dolphin into eventually a forearm balance is a great way to get off your wrists if handstands can be a little bit difficult. Release, bring your knees down, big toes together, child's pose. Stretch out nice and long. And then clasp your palms together. Rest your forehead down and bring your thumbs to the back of your neck. Start to stretch out your triceps. Inhale and exhale. One more time. Inhale, let your chest melt down. Feel now a nice passive stretch in your shoulders. And exhale. Re-straighten your arms. We're going to do another round of dolphin pose. This time working a little bit on lifting a leg. All right, so when we start to lift a leg or transition onto tippy toes, what it does is it starts to bring more of the weight lined up along that axis of your spine. It doesn't have to be a really big movement to start to feel when the blocks of your spine and of your body start to stack. It just starts to feel a little bit easier. So that's what we're searching for here. Spread your palms, ground down along your entire forearm. And then if you want to watch what this looks like, you can take a knee. We'll go back into our dolphin pose. Neck is hanging down. Crown of the head is lifted off of your mat. And then you'll walk yourself in as close as you can go. Feet hip width distance apart. Take an inhale and exhale. Now I want you to keep your feet where they are, hip width distance apart. Inhale, rock forward onto your toes. Keep pressing your forearms down. And then exhale back. Inhale forward. Exhale back. And then you'll lift one leg. And we'll do the same thing. What's really important about that lifted leg is that it stays strong, straight, reaching for the sky. It's not like a loose noodle and then you lose the foundation. Okay. Everyone together. Let's get into this dolphin. Bring your forearms down. Grab biceps, set up, same, like a ritual. Redoing all the steps, even though we've done it so many times before. Tuck your toes, lift your hips high. Inhale, walk your feet in, and then exhale, heels come back. Keep pressing through your palms and your forearms. Inhale again, lift your hips high, walk your feet in. Exhale, heels come back. All right. Now a breath with both feet on the ground, hip width distance apart. Inhale, lift onto your tippy toes. You feel the weight move into your forearms. See if you can move your hips high. Exhale down. Inhale, left leg lifts. Make it pencil straight. Press through the ball of your foot up towards the ceiling. Keep it in line. Inhale, lift to your big toe on the right foot. Exhale down. Whew. Your arms are going to feel fatigued. That's okay. We're building strength. Inhale, lift up. Exhale down. Bring your left foot down. Bring your knees down. This time, knees hip width distance apart. Walk your chest forward for Anahata Asana between sides. Forehead comes down, elbows stay lifted, arms are straight. Hips right over your knees. Inhale, exhale, melt your heart down, stretch your shoulders. Inhale and exhale. Then moving on to the second set. Hands back, forearms, hip width or shoulder width distance apart. Gaze back to your knees, tuck your toes, lift your hips up. Inhale, walk your toes in. Exhale, heels back. Keep pressing through your forearms. Keep drawing your elbow tips towards each other. Inhale, spread your upper back. Walk your toes in. Exhale, heels down. All right, now with both feet remaining on the ground, inhale, rock forward to tippy toes. Exhale, back. Inhale, forward. Exhale, back. Lift your right leg. Inhale, rock forward. As you lift and your straight right leg, imagine as though that was pulling you up. Exhale, heel down. Whew. Feeling the fatigue. Inhale, lift the right leg high. Keep pressing your forearms down. Exhale, right leg down. Both knees down. This time, taking embryo pose. So keep your knees together, top of the feet down. Rest your forehead down as close as it'll come to your knees. And then stretch your arms back. Fingers towards your toes. Let your shoulders roll forward. As you inhale here, you're forcing the air into your upper lungs. And that'll create a nice spread in your upper back, shoulder blades falling away from your spine. Slowly release, coming out, pressing your hands into the mat. Coming into all fours. And then this is where we'll start to do some of that Virabhadrasana 3, Warrior 3 work, focusing on the legs and building leg strength. All right, so hands shoulder width distance apart, extend your left and your right foot back, coming into plank pose. Right away here, remember that lower abdominal that we engaged earlier. Pull your navel up and in, bend your knees, and then press back a downward facing dog. Press your palms into the mat, lift your hips high, take an inhale. Exhale, let your neck release. One more time, inhale. And exhale. Inhale, slowly lift your left leg high. Exhale, step your left foot forward and plant it by your left thumb, and then draw your left knee forward, coming into a nice high lunge. Take the blocks, you're gonna place them on your mat on either side, and then slowly lift up to your high lunge position. Draw your left knee forward, lift your right heel high off of the mat, and then challenge yourself to bring that lunge a little bit lower. Reach your arms up as high as they'll go, right? Fingertips up towards the sky or towards the ceiling. Open your chest, inhale. Exhale, plant your hands down, finding those blocks or the mat, and then begin to straighten your left leg. Take a breath in. Exhale, bend your left knee, sweep your arms up, back into your high lunge. Inhale. Exhale, see if you can draw your left hip back, your right hip a little bit more forward. Breath in. Exhale, hands down into the mat or into the blocks, and press your left leg towards straight. As you press it towards straight, maybe curl the left toes up off of the mat. Keep your left knee from locking out. Draw your left femur head back. So pyramid pose. This time we're going to hold. So if you feel like this is a little bit long, you can take your right leg, step it in. You can also ground it down, heel down, toes out to the side. And then if you need to, you can set your props up a little bit higher for this hold. I like to take my left thumb and actually find my left hip crease and draw it back. And then plant a grounding palm at the base of your spine. Let that hand slip back down to your props or to the mat. Keep reaching the crown of your head long so that your spine can remain nice and straight. And then take 3 more rounds of breath here. Seeing if you can drop back into that focus you found at the very beginning of class. Noticing your breath across the back of your throat, down the length of your tongue, down your trachea to your lungs. Listening for the sound,
the evenness, all while keeping an integration onto the muscular system holding you up. Keep pressing that left foot down. Keep grounding through your back right foot. Getting a nice opening into our left hamstring. Super important when we want to start to split these legs apart. Begin to bend your left knee, drawing it forward. So the key to finding a little bit of progress is holding these stretches for a little bit longer than you would if you were doing it by yourself. Like, okay, that was good. And then she says, take another breath. All right, from here, we're gonna move into vertical splits. So you can bring your props along with you. Begin to transfer the weight into your left foot. Lift your right leg. So hands can come onto blocks or fingertips onto the mat just in front of your left leg. And then rotate your right hip down. Flex your toes, gaze back along the length of your right leg. And you want to make sure that you're not opening your hips to the side, but instead keeping them really square. This is another really important muscular memory when you start to go into inversions or balancing inversions, right? If this leg starts opening up to the side, then begin to transfer your weight over to the left side more than keeping it square. Take a breath in and a breath out. All right. Now I want you to start to pull your hands up, bringing your palms together to heart center, letting your thumbs rest on your sternum. Do your best to keep kicking with your right leg back behind you. See if you can lift your chest up so that your spine is parallel to the ground. Stay here or reach your arms forward. Breath in, breath out. All right, you can keep your arms out or draw them in. We're gonna move into some Jiva squats. So take a breath here and then exhale, you'll pull your hands in and draw your right knee in behind your left. Come down so that your ribs can rest on that left thigh. Inhale, extend, open. Exhale down. Yep, that left leg is fatiguing. I know. Inhale, stretch. Exhale down. Last time, inhale, stretch. Exhale down, hands down. Step the right foot back. Walk the left leg across. Come down briefly into pigeon. I don't know about you, but the outside of that left glute is screaming. So we're just gonna stay lifted in our pigeon. Flex your left toes back. Walk your right leg back. And then just take a couple of deep breaths here. One more time, inhale. And exhale. Then tuck your right toes. Plant your hands down into the mat. Step back. Downward facing dog. Moving on to the next side. You'll really notice a difference right here between the left and the right side. Inhale, sweep your right leg up. Exhale, step your right foot forward by your right thumb. Pull the blocks in if you're using them. You're going to plant them just a little bit behind that right knee. And then right knee stacks over the ankle. Slowly rise up. Find your high lunge. Notice as you press your feet down, if you're pressing out of your lunge, and instead keep your thigh down. Straighten as much that back left leg as you can. Open your chest. Maybe gaze up. Another thing you can do that's kind of helpful is looking up at your palms. Press your palms up towards the ceiling, fingers back. So you'll notice here, if you gaze up in this position, it's a little bit harder on your neck, which is why they say try and practice handstands or inversions with your gaze forward.
So try looking up and then gaze forward with your fingers flexed back. Just notice the difference. It's a little bit harder to breathe too with your neck cranked up towards the ceiling. All right, gaze back forward, straighten your hands, inhale. Exhale, plant your palms down on the blocks or the mat. Inhale, straighten your right leg, coming into pyramid pose. Flex those left or right toes back, and then draw your right femur head back into the hips. Your breath in and out. Inhale, bend the right knee. Start to put a little bit more integration pressure down into both feet. Inhale, rise up, high lunge. Breath in and a breath out. Inhale, open your chest, open your shoulders. Exhale, plant your hands down. Inhale, start to straighten your right leg again. Exhale, hold. This time, taking a nice long hold, opening up your right hamstring. Hands can press down into the block or into your mat. And then this left foot, you can make some adjustments, stepping it in, rotating the heel down to the side, and grounding it into the mat. Whatever you need to find balance, stability, and integration here. If you did so on the other side, use your right thumb into your right hip crease to manually pull that hip a little bit back. And then potentially moving that grounding hand onto your low back, your sacrum. Try closing your eyes so you're not using sight to find balance. Instead, you're noticing when the weight starts to shift front and back, side to side. And you become more tuned into your breath. It's not what the pose looks like or how deep your chest is folded over that front leg, but instead finding a way that you can hold and sustain and balance on that line between too far and really making a little bit of progress. Hamstrings are some of the easiest muscles to overstretch. So you want to make sure that you're keeping an integration. That's why I like to lift my toes up, not lock out the leg. You can also work on flexing and extending, doing some nerve gliding. All right, and then we'll start to move it into a little bit more rotation. So keeping the right foot grounded, bend the right knee, more weight starts to transfer into that right foot. Move your hands, your blocks forward. Really straight left leg still. Begin to lift. Once the left leg comes up, crank it down so you're closing your hips. You're keeping the direction up and down and not open to the side. Flex your left toes, gaze down the length of your left leg, and then find your forward fold. Vertical splits. Keep balancing on that right foot. Slowly draw your hands up to your chest. And then you have to find that lift in your chest. Engage your core. Low back turns on. Inhale. Exhale. Whew. Extend your arms out in front of you. Keep that right leg lift or left leg lifted. Inhale. Exhale. Pull in Jiva squat. Ooh, adding a little bit of movement. Inhale. Open, extend. Exhale down. Last time, inhale, open, extend, exhale down. Hands come down. Step your left leg back, step your right leg. Oh, nope, keep that right leg forward. Walk it over. Bring your shin down for that upright one leg pigeon pose. Hands keep pressing down into the mat. You can also press down into blocks. Walk the left leg back. Take 3 breaths here. Inhale and exhale. Keeping it even and steady throughout the entire length of that inhale and exhale. All right, and then slowly tuck your back toes under. Walk your left knee slightly in and then step back. Downward facing dog. All right, step your feet out wide for this down dog. Press your palms into the mat. Reach your chest back and through. Stretching out your hamstrings, you might notice you'll be able to get more of your feet onto the mat. Relax your neck, let it hang. And then slowly bring your knees down. And you'll move your mat up to your wall. All right. Do a little camera shift here. Whee! Little transition. All right, there we go. Little bouncy. Okay. Hello, wall. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna start to work more on that stacking of our shoulders, our hands, our hips, and building strength. So this is called L handstand at the wall. You can also do this on your forearms, like I mentioned in Dolphin Pose. So the first thing that you're gonna do is you are going to come to hands and knees and bring your feet up against the base of your wall. Bring your hands under your shoulders. And that is where your hands are gonna stay. A good indication if you know that you're a little bit more lengthy, or lengthy in your all fours, or you think that you might shift forward, where your fingertips are is the same length as your legs. So you can come to sit down back against the wall, heels down, and if you have some nice calluses, just make a good line on your mat. That is where your palms go. So we want to maintain that same length and come back to hands and knees. All right, what you're gonna do is spread your hands, ground them down underneath your shoulders, and then lift up into a very tight downward facing dog. So right here, you might notice that you feel like you wanna walk your hands forward. We wanna keep our hands grounded where they are so that we can start to feel that sensation now of stacking palms, shoulders, hips. Gaze back at your feet, and you're gonna press your right foot up, hip height. As you press that foot into the wall, bring your left foot up. Now, if your feet start to slide down, it's most likely because you're bending your knees. Press your legs towards straight. Draw your abdominals in where we were working on earlier, right at the bottom. Press your palms into the ground. It's a lot of work, so you can slow down between minutes, or rather between breaths. So you want to make sure that you're breathing, you're not holding your breath. And when you come down, you come to sit in a Thunderbolt position. So hips over heels and take a couple breaths. A lot of times when we move into inversions, we get really caught up, really maybe scared, nervous, and we stop breathing. We're also flipping the blood flow so you can get lightheaded. So it's always important to come down, was I breathing, and collect your breath. So working on that, we'll do that again. This is where you start to notice, are my arms and shoulders open and strong? Do I start to feel that weight stacking down into my palms? Your hands become the base. Or if you are doing this in forearms, same thing. You want your elbows right on that line you made with the nice calluses, and you just don't come up as far. So you're still making your base foundation a leg width away. And what that does is it stacks legs over, or rather hips over shoulders, over now your elbows. Okay. So we're going to start to add on lifting a leg. This is where that hamstring opening starts to come into play. As you lift one leg up, you want to make sure first off that it's super straight and engaged. If that leg is a loose noodle hanging out all over the place, your weight will start to shift and it becomes harder to stack and hold that leg up. So setting up again, same ritual, hands under shoulders, finding the heels of your palms on that line, feet against the wall, and then lift your hips up. Gaze back at your feet, stack, bringing your feet up hip width distance apart. Really press through your feet into that wall. Then lift the left leg up. So you can work on gaze down at your thumbs, or again, it's a little bit easier, especially when you don't have to do so much balance for breath, if you're gazing back at the wall. Press through the ball of that left foot, and then either come all the way down or just press your left foot into the wall as you switch sides. And when you're done, come down. Plant your hands on your thighs. Sit back over your heels, and if you have a prop or a pillow, you can always place that underneath between your glutes and your heels for a little bit more lift. It's a little kinder on the knees. Reset. Find your breath. I'll offer one more variation, starting to take this into a little bit of a kick up. So if you know you don't want to go there tonight and you're working on your strength, then come back to that L handstand at the wall. So same thing as we just practiced, maybe doing lifts, maybe not. If you want to work on kicking up, then you're gonna rotate around so that you're facing the wall. Hopefully you don't have anything that you're gonna kick, like a planter or a window. I'm gonna be gentle. You're gonna place your hands again, shoulder width distance apart, but have it about a foot away from the wall. Tuck your toes, lift up, come into that nice short downward facing dog. And again, this is where all that hamstring opening comes into play. So lift your left leg. Think back when you were in Dolphin Pose, rocking to the tiptoes and then back down. Keep your left leg super straight, rock forward, so your shoulders and your wrists stack. So you're like this, and then you rock forward and you get a partial stack. Then you start to add a little bit more of the hips over that. Inhale, exhale forward, and maybe lift up. Inhale, down, exhale, rock forward, lift up. And so you might find that you have a little hang time. You might find that you can hold, bring the other foot up, lift off the mat, work on moving the weight from palm into fingers. Most important thing, so you might have noticed I was cueing as you rock forward and back with your breath. If you move into the inversion on an exhale with no air in your lungs, you are lighter. It's just easier. It has to do with the bandha work. So you can try a big exhale, hold that air out. We've practiced holding on empty. Then try kicking up, keeping your legs super straight. See if it's a little bit easier. So play with that. And then you'll switch sides if you're doing the kick ups, or if you're doing the leg lifts. You might have one side that you favor more. As you keep working, I'll just kind of keep talking some things that you might be noticing One is if you are opening your hips from side to side, you might notice you kind of go off from one side or the other. So it's important when you're doing those kick-ups that you keep your hips nice and square. And it's a very controlled rock forward, exhale all of the air out, lift, press through your ham, and then come down. Inhale down here, exhale, up. If you get both feet up, press your hands, inhale, find lift. And then exhale, maybe work on moving one or both feet off of the wall. All right. And then when you are done with handstands for the night, just give me a little thumbs up on your video and we'll move into a final shoulder stretch. Nice, thumbs up, I like it. All right. Thanks, Jane. Thanks, Polly. Beth, good. Gotta make sure you're still with me here. Okay. So to end tonight's practice, we're gonna do a little shoulder stretch. We're still gonna use the wall. I want you to stand next to the wall, move the little kid's chair out of the way. And you're going to step the front foot forward. So the foot that's near the wall forward. Bend your knee and then angle that back foot out at an angle. So you're like a warrior one, Virabhadrasana one position. Hips, body is moving with the wall. Oops. From there, you're going to take your hand that's against the wall and you're going to extend it behind you. You want that palm to be parallel with your shoulder. So if you're working outside and you got siding, it's going to run in your favor. But you can gaze back behind you and notice if your hand seems like it's dipping down or too high. Make sure it's even. Take the hand that's on the outside, bring it to your chest and start to move your chest more open. So you're, again, running parallel with the wall. Bend a little bit deeper into that front knee. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, pull the inside knee forward. Get a little bit deeper in your lunge. Feel that deep stretch in your shoulder blades pulling back. Hand right over your heart. Inhale and exhale. Slowly press that front leg to straight. Let your arm drop down and then you'll just pivot on your heels. Step this back foot a little bit closer or front foot closer, back foot out. So you got your lunge now facing the other way. Bend your front knee. Take the arm that's against the wall, palm open, shoulder height. Other hand to your heart. Inhale. Exhale, draw that inside knee more forward. So you're, again, running parallel with the wall. Placing the outside hand on your heart and gently pulling it open, deepening the sensation across the top of your deltoid, your shoulder, and then all the way down into your pectoral major. So all of those muscles that come across the front of your chest that work when you're pressing into something. So in this case, pressing into the ground. They all connect into and through the armpit. So feel that starting to open up. Slowly press that front leg to straight, release that hand down. We're going to use the wall for our final Shavasana. Come down to sit. Booty as close to the wall as you can, knees bent. And then you're going to drop back and pivot. So you have legs up the wall. Shimmy your hips closer. Extend your legs up and palms down by your side. So right here is the final piece of stacking in an inversion, feet over the hips.
So even here in this very passive yin position, you're reversing gravity and which direction your heart really needs to work to pump the blood. Now, instead of blood pooling at your feet, it is dropping back to your heart faster. So you don't always have to work super hard to find the benefits of an inversion. Let your breath flow in and out evenly. Feel the grounding of your hips into the mat. And then slowly bend your knees, press your feet into the wall, and slowly drop down to one side. Gently press yourself up to a comfortable seat, scooching back to the wall. And then let your spine, your back rest into the wall for support. Put your hands down on your knees. Another deep breath in and out. Inhale and exhale. Draw your hands together to heart center. Raise your thumbs up to third eye center. Be curious. Follow your bliss. Namaste.